Welcome to Monument, where according to the Steam page you need to survive in this dangerous world and become the best evil shooter. I don't know what exactly defines an evil shooter, but it probably has something to do with me going in these levels and killing everything that moves. Sounds good on paper, but the game falls short. I'm playing this on the hardest difficulty because the boomer code dictates that it is the only way to play FPS games, though I probably shouldn't have, but more on that later. As this was a blind playthrough, I got killed. A lot. Mostly because the enemies spawn behind you and are hit scans. Now I could live with that, but their hitboxes are not always where they should, which makes it somewhat frustrating to beat their asses. The game introduces you the basic weapons arsenal 1 or 2 per map, and consists of everything you could expect. Nothing stands out, but nothing is totally bad, although the enemies felt a bit spongy on harder difficulties. You have your pistol, shotgun, machine gun, rifle and an energy weapon. The models look fine except the pistol. I mean, look at it. What is that thing? The shotgun is your main weapon as always, and it does an okay job at it, though you must cycle through your weapons on harder difficulties or you run out of ammo. I think it would have been nice to have the weapons designed against certain enemies, like the rifle could have a headshot multiplier, but only certain enemies had separate hitboxes for headshots. The enemies come in some variety, but to me it seems the devs didn't pay much time in their design. You get one-shottable starting enemies who are candles, which I didn't know before I checked out the achievement which says meet the candle. These things come in 2 versions, poison and fire. Poison ones leave a cloud on the floor and fire ones explode when killed. Then you have a meatloaf with arms and legs which the game names as chickens. Chickens either multiply when killed or they throw hit scan fireballs at you, though they only throw in a vertical line, and you can totally dodge their balls if you go on an upper or lower level. They also spawn out of nowhere and shoot before you see their model, which is absolutely annoying. Their model is also way too big for some of the level design, and they are easy to get stuck around corners. Third enemy is the Hatcher, who is a fat guy who throws fireballs at you. They spawn in numbers and sometimes in elevated positions and remind me of Doom's imps, but in steroids. Damn, these guys really hurt. Best way to work around them is the old peek around corner and use a pistol so you don't waste good ammo on them. Then there are the aliens. They are hard to see Slendermen who teleport behind you and hit scan, and I hate them. They take big chunks of your health with one hit and you never know where they are. Combine one of them with the murder of chickens and you have yourself a shit show. Lastly, you have Poulters, which are these floating roped enemies who have no animations. They just float towards you in a classic T-pose and shoot fireballs. Usually comes in a group of 3. They are also very hard to see since they are see-through and the game's color palette is mainly black and brown with dark corridors. I like challenge, but when the challenge is decided if you can actually see what you're shooting, it is not very user-friendly. The level design consists of narrow corridors and arena-like larger rooms which fit well into the game. You can instantly tell when there will be a horde spawning around you by the number of pickups, which seem to be plenty, even on harder difficulties. There is not much to see in regards of different levels though. You have the same corridors and almost same textures in all maps with only some variation, like one map is dedicated to teleporting around and one is full of toxic waste, but that's about it. The maps were uninteresting enough that I didn't bother looking for secrets, and if Steve achievements are to believe, neither was anyone else. The sounds are what you would expect from a game like this. Nothing fancy. The enemies have distinguishable sounds with their grunts and wheezes. Weapon sounds don't have the punch you would like except the shotgun, which is a shame. The soundtrack is not for me. It gets boring really quick, and you can't tell the difference between the tracks. They are all the same 2 or 3 guitar solos. The game ran okay for me, though it did crash once, but I'll get back to it soon. The movement and mouse aiming are good and I have nothing more to say about them. Bunny hopping works and seems to be the only way to escape the final boss, who is by the way just a bigger chicken model with glowing hands. That's just outright lazy. The game lets you quick save, though it came as a surprise that it has an autosave mechanic which overrides your own saves. This led me to a death loop where I jumped in a poison pool, the game saved at the same time and so was stuck there. My last real save was from last map, so it really pissed me off. I don't know if this is by design or a mistake, but in any case the devs can go punch themselves in the face. Also, when you reload and get to the press any key screen, you actually start taking damage even though you haven't pressed anything and can die. This screws up the game somehow and caused my only crash. I was able to get to the final boss in less than an hour of playing and could never finish the game as the boss seemed to be unkillable on hard. I spent a good 15 minutes with God mode on to figure out what I'm supposed to do, but couldn't find any way to reduce his health. Also, Steam forums gave no answer, people seem to have this problem and there is no answer from the devs, which sucks. I paid 90 cents for this game, but from the comments I understand that it has cost over $10, which sounds ridiculous. If you want to try the game, I recommend getting it from a sale when possible. The game is just not worth more than in terms of content. Repeating corridors and using the same spawn mechanic for enemies over and over again just gets old very quickly, even for a short game like this. Monument gave me some retro feelings along the way, but the bad design choices, or bugs whichever they are, made me not want to play this game again. 3 out of 10.